Welcome to Tech at Work Online. My name is Melissa Nelson, and I am an AmeriCorps member at Vermont Works for Women. Vermont Works for Women is a nonprofit in Winooski, Vermont, and we help women and gender nonconforming individuals achieve economic independence in their lives. And this takes a variety of forms for youth and adults, and for youth, we do mostly career exploration programs such as this, Tech at Work. So Tech at Work is a speaker series program that we do primarily for high school students at tech centers, and it functions to introduce students to gender diverse role models in non-traditional career paths, to show them that anyone can pursue a career who is passionate about it and who wants to, and to also introduce them to people who are successful in their career fields here in our community in Vermont, and hear about their story and their path that they took to get to this career. Today we'll be doing culinary arts with Hailey Cohn. Thank you for joining us, Hailey. Okay, if you would like to introduce yourself first.
I'm Hailey Cohn. I am a chef, and I own a small catering and confections business called Satori Foods. I cater for a lot of small retreats, yoga retreats, different herbal conferences, all different small retreats is mainly what I end up catering, but lots of different classes, which is really fun. A lot of herbalism classes, weekend classes. And I make herb-infused chocolate truffles. I also currently am the kitchen manager and client communications manager at Woodbelly Pizza and Catering. So busy. Yeah, those are my roles, my career roles.
Okay, wonderful. A lot of different jobs across the spectrum there. So why did you choose this career? How did you first get into culinary?
Oh man, I was born into it, I think. My mom has 5 sisters, and they're all Italian. And so all of my whole life, ever since I was very, very little, I was surrounded by food and people cooking. And I think all my best memories as a child are, from my aunts and my mom in the kitchen, just having a great time, laughing and singing and cooking together, and then sitting and eating together was always a really beautiful way to come together and connect over something that everybody enjoyed at the same time. So I really did just kind of get born into it. I'm always like after my daughter, food is the second thing I think of every single day, pretty much all day. And then I started, so basically it was something that I was always interested in. And I would experiment a lot at home ever since I was very young. And then I got into middle school and started throwing like family parties that I would cook for. And that's when I really started like honing my cooking skills. And I got a job at a small cafe and kind of just went from there. And I've worked in restaurants and in this business pretty much since I was 13 or 14.
Wow, okay, all right. Well, I think that's also perfect for our audience to show them that they can get started now if they're interested in pursuing culinary. So there we go.
I think really one of the very best ways to work is just doing it. And if you find a job at a cafe as a dishwasher, you start there. That's kind of the best way to get a culinary beginning, is to start wherever they allow you to be near the kitchen. And some of the greatest chefs I know started as dishwashers. And you just move up, and you just learn and pay attention and get yourself engaged. And, the more engaged you are in the process and the more passionate you are about the skill and the food as a whole, the better.
That's excellent advice. Thank you. What do you love most about your job?
Hmm. I have so many jobs right now. I think, well, what I love most about having my own business is really the creative reign over what I do. With my chocolates, I kind of just will go and, the seasonality is a big part of it for me with herbs and food that I make, but it's also just how I'm feeling and what the people who I'm making a product for, the energy that they're putting out and kind of feeding off of that and turning around and feeding them something beautiful and nourishing based on our interactions and our connection. So I really love that. I love connecting with people through food. Like I said, I've always loved making food for people and sharing it. So being able to do that as my job is pretty lucky.
That's wonderful. And do you find a similar joy from working with other people and not your own business, or do you prefer your own business side of it?
Both. I mean, I think that having your own business is really hard, and it's not guaranteed income, and you have a lot of responsibility, and a lot of the time it's only you. And if it's not only you, it's still kind of only you and then a staff that relies heavily on you. So it's a lot of weight and it's a lot of the unknown. Whereas working for another company is, you have a better chance of consistency. You know what's expected of you when you show up at work. You aren't exactly met with too many surprises, and you have a consistent paycheck. So I think that there are really positive things about working for yourself and also working for other people. And if you find a really great business to work for, all the better.
That is definitely true. Who you work with is so important.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you touched on this a little bit, but what is the biggest challenge to your job?
Oh, well, so I guess again, having my own business, it's hard. It's really, really hard to stay motivated when you're unsure of your income. And I think that a lot of people experience that, especially right now with what, with this, so many people being out of work and just being so unsure of how to even move forward when you don't have guaranteed income. We all have bills to pay. So that I would say is really my biggest challenge in having my own business. My biggest challenge in working for other people is trusting that I'm good enough and I'm going to get the job done the way that is going to, make everyone feel good. And because when you are working for someone else, you're not only representing yourself, you're representing the whole community that is whatever company you're working for. You're that face of, or in every way that you're showing up, you're representing them. So it's pressure, and like I said, if you find a really wonderful place to work, like we're lucky in Vermont, we have a lot of really great restaurants and food businesses that offer really lovely food or cooking environments and work environments. And if you can find that, then that's great. But you want people to love what you're doing, and you want people to trust that you're doing a good job. So, there's challenges everywhere and positives everywhere.
Okay, so I understand you do a lot, but what does a typical day at work look like for you? What do you do on a day-to-day basis, I guess? Also, how do you balance having your own business and also working at other companies?
So I usually work pretty full-time with Woodbelly. In the off season, I'm doing a lot of client communication, so I'm on my computer a lot, and on the phone and having Zoom meetings with clients, and basically building menus and contracts for them, and coming up with a lot of answers to their questions, kind of trying to help them feel settled and confident in us. And that's pretty much in the off season. That's my Woodbelly day. I've meetings with my working peers, which is awesome because it's a staff of really wonderful people. And then during our busy season, I'll be in the kitchen a lot more, doing a lot of prep, and getting everything ready for every event that we have. And then at my own business, when I make chocolates, right now I don't make chocolates nearly as much as I probably should be, but I take a day. If usually I have a day off a week, and I'll make probably like 100 truffles just to kind of supply the stores or the orders that have been placed. And that, I guess it's all very similar in terms of kitchen work. Is I'd get up and do my morning thing, and then write myself a to-do list. That's always really helpful. Being able to check things off as you go is really nice to feel like you're actually being productive and getting things done. And a lot of times I feel, even at the end of the day, if I feel like I haven't really done that much, I look at my to-do list and I find that I've actually accomplished a lot,
Right.
which feels really good. Yeah, and then depending on what job I'm doing for the day, I might step into the kitchen, make a prep list, and start prepping the different items I need to prep, placing orders. And if I'm not in the kitchen and I'm still doing wood belly work, I'm doing a lot of meetings, a lot of computer work. And yeah, with chocolates, I just am playing around and infusing herbs and magic into little treats for people, which is wonderful.
Thank you for sharing. It sounds like you have a very busy but rewarding schedule.
Yeah.
Okay, so part of Tech at Work is to show students that there are gender diverse professionals in these career fields, and to emphasize that anyone can pursue these careers. So have you had any challenges pop up in your career path based on your gender or not?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I've managed quite a few kitchens, and I think we're lucky again to be in Vermont, to be in a little bit of a more accepting place, but even still, the majority of chefs are male, and that's changing. That's shifting, luckily, and it's becoming more diverse for sure. And you have a lot more gender binary or gender non-conforming people stepping up to do the work and being accepted into the work. And you also have a lot more female chefs, which is also really wonderful. There's really no reason why any career or business should be dominated by any one thing. But yeah, I think I've definitely found, particularly when working with younger male cooks, that often they just don't want to listen to me. Really? And that's really challenging. That doesn't happen as much now, but certainly when I was a little bit younger, stepping in, there's definitely like more kickback, a little bit less respect for sure. And yeah, I think it's been really important to just know that I'm doing a good job and trust in myself. And as long as I do that and have confidence in myself in my job, then I'm able to move forward, whether people are respecting me or not. And kind of just respecting myself enough to know that the advice or the delegating that I'm doing is important and it needs to get done. And sometimes, being a little bit blunt, or some people might say mean, but it gets the point across. And I think that to be a strong female person, particularly in a kitchen lead or any lead position, is challenging, but as long as you trust that you're in there for a reason, and you know what you're doing, and you feel confident in yourself and in the job that you're in, you know, the job that you're doing and the skills that you're bringing. Yeah, I think that this is a tough subject because I could just go on forever, and I think that it's, you just have to really trust in yourself and know that what you're asking for from others is just needs to happen. It's right, and as long as you know that, then other people will follow that. And you know, I'm lucky. I have a few really amazing role models. Crystal Madeira from Kismet is an amazing, brilliant chef, and really demands respect um, and has a lot of confidence in the kitchen, and just kind of walks in there and does her job, and you know, really moves forward. And I think you'll always risk in any managerial position, you'll always risk people thinking that you're mean or scary. um, but I guess that's just a certain perspective. You know, if you just shift the perspective a little bit, then um, yeah, we're just all trying to do a really good job and be respected like everyone else in that job.
Thank you for sharing your experience. And it is a tough subject. It definitely is. And like you identified, I think having those role models is so incredibly important, especially if you're having a bit of a tough time in that career path. Having people you can look up to and people you can rely on and have as a support network is invaluable. So thank you for sharing your experience. As one last question, these are middle school and high school students, primarily high school students, but what advice would you give a student who is hoping to go into the culinary field?
Well, there's so much. One, I think, you know, if you're passionate about food, go for it. You know, this is one business that even in this time, even in a time where people can't even really go out to eat, we're making it work. This is one business that I'm pretty convinced will be around for the long haul. So there will always be food industry jobs to have. I think it's really important to be humble stepping in. The more humble you are, the more you'll learn and the more you'll grow. You know, I went to culinary school, and I could a lot of times step into a kitchen with my ego and move forward and as if I know everything, and then I don't learn anything. So I think particularly in this business, staying humble is really important. And if you're passionate about food and wanting to learn more, just trust that. You know, let that passion drive you, and that excitement like fill you, because there's so much to learn and so much that can be done with food and community that is really pertinent to the way of life right now and probably forever. So just think, take your passion and run with it and trust in it, and try to learn as much as you can in every environment.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That's wonderful advice. And I agree. It's really wonderful to see how resilient the restaurant community is, even during this time. I mean, the quick transition so many of them did to figure out how to make it work, even when everyone is staying home. So I think this industry will be around for a long time to come. Mm-hmm. And thank you for joining us as our Tech at Work online speaker and for being so flexible and accommodating this whole process.
Yeah, thank you too. And it's my
okay, just to wrap up, if you are watching this with your teacher, here are a few suggested discussion questions, but of course this is dependent on the teacher if they would like you to look at this and answer them for them or not. So just a few questions that we are offering as ones that we think are good discussion questions. Thank you for joining us.